Dozens of shots fired in Madison. What police recovered from the scene.
With the last storm, we got flooded, so it's all about prepping this time.
Plus, bracing for Hurricane Milton, how Florida is preparing and when and where it could make landfall. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to News 3 Now this morning on this Tuesday. I'm Kyrie Lee.
And I'm Chris Stanford. Thanks for joining us. Boy, Hurricane Milton might be deceiving. Some of the headlines are saying that, you know, the storm weakened overnight, but it's still a very strong storm, and it's got time to pick up some strength before it hits Florida here in the next couple of days. So we're thinking of everybody down there this morning.
Yeah, I'm saying hurricane season, they still got some weeks left in it, so yeah. Hopefully they can just hang in there for a little bit longer.
Yeah, a lot of folks still recovering after a Hurricane Helene came through not too long ago. Let's check in with meteorologist Savannah Brito this morning and what's going on outside here in South Central Wisconsin. Hey there.
Hey guys, it's still cool outside. We have that frost advisory for Camp Douglas, Black River Falls, Wisconsin Dells, mainly to our far north and northwest. That's where the coolest temperatures are this morning. It's not terrible outside in Madison anyways. We're still hanging on to those lower 40s. Under clear skies, it will be a little bit warmer, not only this morning, but later in the day too, where we won't necessarily have as fall-like temperatures compared to yesterday. We're in the lower to mid 60s yesterday. Today, the mid, maybe even upper 60s. A couple areas could top out at 70. I think that's more likely tomorrow, though, definitely by Thursday. And then an even warmer day where we could even make a run for the 80s in a couple areas across southern Wisconsin on Friday, maybe even widespread 80s. It'll feel very summer-like and nice. That's definitely my pick out of the work week. But then temperatures are going to fall through the weekend. That'll be associated with that speeding up cold front. I still think we'll be dry, though, most of the next couple of days. By Friday morning, I think we'll still be dry at that point in time, but by Friday night, that's when we could see some showers track in. It's not a great chance right now, and then the better chance possibly Saturday night into Sunday. That's still low, though. We'll talk about where the best chance of rain is going to be across Wisconsin coming up a little later, and just how much temperatures are going to fall behind that cold front into the weekend.
All right. Savannah, thank you so much for that update. Well, Madison police are investigating a shooting that left behind 80 shell casings on the city's east side. It happened on Thompson Street near Honeysuckle Park.
Police say that the shooting resulted in a stray bullet entering a home coming within 2 feet of small children. 6 vehicles were also damaged by the bullets. Police say they located multiple weapons at the scene as well and took someone into custody and put them in the Dane County Jail for resisting after they attempted to run from the area. When we learn more about what happened the other night, we will push those informations to the Channel 3000 mobile app.
2 families in Madison are without a home after a kitchen fire. Crews responded to the apartment building on Onsgard Road last night. All the people inside and animals evacuated without injury prior to Madison Fire arriving. Firefighters put out the fire within 5 minutes. Property management provided displaced occupants with temporary housing.
It is Fire Prevention Week. 3 out of every 5 deaths happen in homes without working smoke alarms or homes without smoke alarms altogether. Madison Fire hopes the public will take action and check their home smoke alarms. You can do this by installing an alarm in each bedroom on every floor, testing at least once a month, and replacing when they're 10 years or older or when they stop responding when tested.
If everybody took care of themselves first by thinking about, hey, make sure you're standing by your pan when you're cooking. Don't go answer the door. Those are the kind of things we want people to be proactive about. And then hopefully then if we're proactive, we don't have to roll the big red rigs.
The department plans to visit each of Madison's elementary schools for Fire Prevention Week. The goal is to get the youngest members of the community informed about fire safety. To national news this morning, the number of people crossing the U.S.-Mexico border illegally is at its lowest point during President Biden's administration. New information from the Department of Homeland Security showing last month, U.S. Border Patrol agents stopped 54,000 people. That is 2,000 less people than the administration's previous low in July. These numbers show migration slowed ever since President Biden approved measures to ban most of these entering illegally from seeking asylum.
Vice President Kamala Harris and her running mate Tim Walz sat down with Bill Whitaker for an interview on CBS's 60 Minutes. Immigration and the border is among one of the topics covered. Harris maintained migration is a long-standing problem when asked about President Joe Biden's administration's approach. Whitaker asked Harris why the administration didn't crack down earlier. She cited an immigration bill proposed to Congress in early 2021 and slammed Republicans.
The first bill we proposed to Congress was to fix our broken immigration system, knowing that if you want to actually fix it, we need Congress to act. It was not taken up. Fast forward to a moment when a bipartisan group of members of the United States Senate, including one of the most conservative members of the United States Senate, got together, came up with a border security bill. Well, guess what happened? Donald Trump got word that this bill was afoot and could be passed, and he wants to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem. So he told his buddies in Congress, kill the bill, don't let it move forward.
The 60 Minutes host also says that the Biden administration saw a historic flood of crossings. Former President Donald Trump declined an interview.
While Democrats are campaigning for the top of the ticket, there are many local legislative races drawing some national attention. Democrats think they have a better chance this year than they have in the past because the state Supreme Court drew up some new district lines, putting more seats in play. The top Democrat in the state assembly says these down ballot races can come down to a few hundred votes, so voters' voices really carry a lot of weight.
Voters have a huge amount of power in our state to decide the assembly majority, to decide several important congressional and, of course, our Senate seat.
These local lawmakers help determine things like abortion regulation and help set things like school funding for local schools.
New this morning, the Wisconsin Supreme Court will hear a challenge to Governor Tony Evers' partial veto that locked in school funding to increase for the next 400 years.
Yeah, that hearing is coming up tomorrow. Our Michelle Renee Quinn this morning is here with a timeline of events of how we got here and what comes next. Hey there, Michelle Renee.
Hi guys. Evers' veto allows school districts in the state to collectively increase revenue by almost $270 million. Each year, that would allow an already record increase to be duplicated every year for the next 4 centuries. In July of 2023, Evers used his partial veto in the state's budget to increase revenue public schools can raise per student by $325 a year until the year 24-25. In April of this year, the Wisconsin Manufacturers and Commerce Litigation Center sued Evers, saying his use of the partial veto exceeded his authority. They asked the Supreme Court to step in and strike down Governor Evers' veto without waiting for the lower courts. In June of this year, the court agreed. That brings us to this week. The court is scheduled to hear arguments tomorrow. This lawsuit says Evers exceeded his veto authority.
And Michelle Renee, that lawsuit is saying that the governor's actions are unconstitutional.
Yeah, that's correct. And they're saying that, but Evers wasn't the first governor to use this partial veto power. Wisconsin governors from both parties have long used the tactic to reshape the state's budget. It's the most expansive partial veto power in the country. In turn, the legislature tries to craft bills that are mostly immune to creative vetoes. That hearing starts tomorrow at 9:45 in the morning.
Yeah, this is something that folks in Wisconsin have argued a lot about over the course of so many different administrations. It always seems like the party that's not in power has some gripes about whoever is using the power.
Yep.
So here we go again. All right, Michelle Renee, thank you.
Absolutely.
Well, in other news happening today, Madison Mayor Satya Rhodes Conway will announce the city's 2025 executive operating budget. The announcement comes ahead of the city's operational referendum this November. City leaders are asking taxpayers for $22 million to address a deficit. Today's budget will include details about scenarios with and without a past referendum. The mayor is scheduled to speak today at 2 p.m. And Florida is bracing for Hurricane Milton this morning. You're taking a live look at the traffic evacuation in Tampa. Look at those long lines of cars there. It's just after 7 a.m. right now over there, and at least 9 counties are under mandatory evacuation orders.
Tampa's airport is expected to cease operations today. Those planning to ride out the storm lined up for hours to fill sandbags and get groceries. Shelves there are already empty in a lot of places.
Paper towel, water, and canned food boxes, everything. A lot of people is like going crazy buying stuff.
With the last storm, we got flooded, so it's all about prepping this time.
Residents are also working to pick up debris left behind from Hurricane Helene, which can create safety hazards, of course. The state, you're taking a look here at video from Tropicana Field, where they've set up 10,000 beds for emergency workers, and then at Tampa Zoo, a staff are rushing to secure animals.
That traffic was crazy. I mean, definitely believable, but you're never, what's the word I'm looking for?
Fully prepared.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I am glad people are taking precaution and actually
Absolutely.
evacuating these areas and not trying to ride out this
Yeah,
storm.
because we're a day and a half out, so that's good that they're taking those necessary precautions, but just scared for those that don't.
I mean, even places inland,
Yeah.
communities like Orlando, they're starting to prepare too because of all of the rain that Milton could dump on them. You know, usually when these storms make landfall, they typically weaken, and it's not much of a, but even folks inland in Florida are really taking this seriously.
Rainfall. And then there's also the storm prediction outlook for that over the next 3 days has severe weather over that because of Milton. So, yeah, and they just had Helene. It's not the same track, somewhere between Tampa and then also Sarasota. That's where it's expected to make landfall, but still rapidly intensifying. The wind speed, 155 to become a Category 5 again. Just needs to gain strength 2 miles per hour. That is expected to become a Category 5 once again.
And we're getting into the spooky spirit this morning right here in Sun Prairie. We're going to check out this Halloween display and how you can check it out and also give back to the community. That's coming up next, live in the 608.
You're watching News 3 Now this morning, brought to you by Toyota.
Dear road rivals, no truck on the road drives value like the Tundra. Day after day, mile after mile, it all adds up to big savings under the hood. What's under yours? Toyota Tundra.
Right now, lease a new Tundra for $479 a month or get 3.99% APR for 72 months on a new Tundra. Find yours at Toyota.com. Toyota. Let's go places.
I worked as a truck driver for 36 years.
And then one day I got this letter.
Your retirement will be cut.
Will be cut in half.
You don't forget something like that.
Every paycheck we put money away. But because of Wall Street greed, boom, it was gone. But Tammy Baldwin saw what they were doing and wrote a bill to save our retirement.
Then she fought like hell to pass it.
What Tammy Baldwin did for our families, you don't forget something like that.
I'm Tammy Baldwin, and I approve this message.
Everyone has their own idea of what fitness means to them. Here's what it means to us. We believe fitness can be more than exercise, that it can build a better tomorrow. It can change how you feel. It can build more than muscle. It can build community. And no matter what your reason, the common goal is simple. It's for a better tomorrow. Join us for a better tomorrow.
Kamala Harris is going to significantly raise taxes.
Taxes are going to have to go up?
Kamala's plan will raise families' taxes by nearly $2,600 a year. Under Kamala, prices have already soared. Now she'd make it worse with even higher taxes.
Taxes are going to have to go up?
President Trump will cut taxes again. No taxes on tips, overtime, or Social Security.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
Great. Let's go with that one.
Sometimes it takes a different approach to see the possibilities all around you.
Thanks.
With Capella University's FlexPath format, you can pursue a business degree on your terms and use the skills you learn right away. A different future is closer than you think with Capella University.
Now is the best time to buy new Champion windows, because when you buy two, you get two free.
Hurry, Champion's Buy Two, Get Two free sale is for a limited time.
That's a great deal. Thanks.
Call 888-4CHAMPION or schedule your free in-home estimate online today.
Building that middle class will be a defining goal of my presidency. Compare that to Trump. He fights for himself and his billionaire friends. He intends to enact a national sales tax, the Trump tax, that would raise prices on middle-class families by $4,000 a year. Instead of a tax hike, we will pass a middle-class tax cut that will benefit more than 100 million Americans.
FFPAC is responsible for the content of this ad.
Soft drinks are just $1 at Wendy's. Any size, anytime. 3 p.m. Fanta, 10 p.m. Sprite, 7:46 a.m. Coke. Yeah, you're built different. Dollar soft drinks, any size, gotta be Wendy's.
You're watching News 3 Now this morning. Moving forward.
Well, Hurricane Milton is still rapidly intensifying. Yesterday, it went from a Category 2 all the way up to a Category 5, as it did make the outer bands anyways very close to landfall along the Yucatan Peninsula. That did briefly weaken. When I say briefly, its wind speeds are still pushing 155 miles per hour. That's just 2 miles per hour shy of a Category 5 status. Its eye is not quite as defined as it was yesterday, but that is expected to continue to rapidly intensify back to a Category 5 storm. The reason being the very, very warm Gulf temperatures that are pushing even 90 degrees. As that continues to track further east-northeast, that's set to move over those very warm Gulf waters. Still the warmest track, actually. That's why it's going to make its way back up to Category 5 status pretty soon here, I would expect. Within probably by the time we're ending our show, I do already expect that to be very close to that status. It will make landfall likely as a high-end Category 3, possibly a Category 4 storm. Still tracked in between Tampa and Sarasota. That's tomorrow late in the evening hours, potentially overnight hours. That's forecast somewhere probably around that 10 p.m. time frame between those two cities. That's going to continue to move northeast. I don't think it's going to cause an impact inland or far inland compared to Helene. That's going to then go out into the Atlantic water. 41 degrees right here currently, 57 by 10 a.m. A little warmer pushing the lunchtime hour. I do think some areas could get very close to 70 this afternoon. That's more likely at least spread out across southern Wisconsin tomorrow. Our winds are still out of the northeast. Not going to be a huge factor. Madison and eastward, we could see gusts up to 15 miles per hour. We'll fall to near 40, and then like I mentioned, tomorrow a little warmer than what we're tracking for this afternoon. I do think the best chance of hitting the 70s, that'll be Thursday, and then even a warmer day ahead on Friday, 81. We fall for the weekend, though, back into the 60s, and it looks like that's where we could stay then going forward.
All right. Keeping an eye on it. Savannah, thank you.
Well, in the 608 this morning, spooky season is in full swing, and that means October traditions for area families.
I would laugh because spooky season is one of Josh Breider's favorite terms this time of year. He is live in Sun Prairie this morning, where a local family goes all out every year. I can't wait to see what they got, Josh.
Hey, good morning. Yeah, Kyra making me smile already. You know I love spooky season, and this has become a tradition here on News 3 Now this morning. Aaron Voken is back with us this year. Aaron, good morning to you.
Good morning, Josh.
So this is year number 4, I believe.
Number 4, yeah, 4 here, I think, this year.
This is so much fun, and this year you went all out on pirates across your whole front yard. What can people see here?
So, yeah, a couple years ago, so we did do pirates, and I went big, made a big giant treasure chest, took our skeleton, our 12-foot skeleton, and my sister made a giant pirate costume for him, made a kind of a homemade pirate ship, and tried to repurpose a lot of the stuff we had last year and kind of bring in some new stuff into it. I've got a couple of animatronics. I've got an animatronic Captain Cuts here. He's really great.
And they'll get you if you're not expecting it. I already walked by a couple times and I did the little jump.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. People walking their dogs, it'll spook them. It'll, you know, just at the right time kind of set things off. But oh, kids love it. The parents love it. Kids love it. We have people who come from all over the place and say, oh, what are you doing this year? What's the theme this year? So
how do you come up with the theme? How do you change it year after year?
So I guess I see something, I get an idea and think, oh, you know, that would be kind of fun to do that. I did pirates some years ago and thought, you know, I've got some ideas with it, and turned a bunch of scrap lumber and some just things I had laying around. I thought, okay, I'm gonna make a pirate ship, and so I did this, and you know, I'd build it in the garage, and people come by and see it built in the garage. They're like, you're never gonna get that out of there.
And then you do.
I do find a way. I find a way. But yeah, I use Facebook. I use different ideas on Pinterest and see things on the internet and see things around and try to just incorporate as much creativity as I can. I try to keep it spooky and not scary, so kids like it. it and it's fun, and try to, you know, if I see kids come by the neighborhood as I'm putting something out, it kind of scares them. I think, okay, I got to reel that back. I want to make sure it's fun. So
about how many hours do you think you have into this?
Oh gosh, I would say over hundreds of hours.
Wow.
The paint, I've got a lot of treasures that I put out there, and literal treasures, and so you know, every coin has to be glued on, and so I'll get up in the morning, listen to a book or something, and do it. So it just takes a lot of time. And also, you know, I start early. I start in January, kind of thinking of ideas and then building stuff. I built the giant pirate ship and had it completed, I would say, in July. And,
wow. And
so I start early. I guess I go through a lot of books on tape.
I believe it. And this year you got the neighbors involved too.
I did, yeah. So I passed some things off, some blow-ups and some lights and things to our neighbors, and they really enjoyed kind of participating in the joy of it and kind of bringing joy into people's lives as they come by and seeing it.
I love this. You know, this is all for the community, and you also have a way for people to be able to give back in the meantime of enjoying your lights. You have a little bin here. Let's talk about this. What can people do?
Yeah, so they can bring any kind of canned goods. This is a Sun Prairie food bank. We have a barrel out front and give people an opportunity to, you know, just to come and see and see the decorations of the lights and participate, and then say, you know, hey, I'm going to give to someone else maybe in need this season. So.
And that's what this has all been about for you. This has been for the people, right? And this was all inspired by your son.
Absolutely, yeah. So my son, my wife and I lived in Oklahoma when he was born. We were out trick-or-treating the night before. He was born the day after, and so we kind of took it from year after year and just started bringing that joy to people's lives. And he's gotten older. He'll turn 10 this year, and so we enjoy seeing that, you know, that community, people getting out and trick-or-treating, having fun.
Oh, I love that. Well, thank you for making us smile. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Josh. Thank you guys.
So awesome. If you'd like to learn more about what they have going on here, again, they're on Silverado Drive here in Sun Prairie. Just go to the story up on channel3000.com. Plenty of time to be able to come out here and check it out, guys.
And you can't miss it.
I would say so. I'm sure they're the brightest house on the streets. Yes, lots of talented. That takes a lot of talent as well to be able to build everything there and still bring joy to everyone.
Yeah, and creativity, and I love why he does it. Thanks, Josh. We'll talk soon. Josh is always looking for stuff to share with you folks at home. You have an idea for him, reach out. Your story might just wind up on TV.
Well, still ahead, we're talking about some changes at two popular fast food chains.
We're back right after this.
Eric Franke, News 3 Now at 5, 6, and 10. Moving forward.
With Sweeto Metal Roofing, you get quality metal roofs installed by the best in the business. A metal roof means no fading, no storm repairs, true sustainability, and lower energy bills.
Sweeto Metal Roofing, the last roof you'll ever need.
Need inspiration to start your home update? We've got the wood, carpet, tile, and luxury vinyl during our Beautiful sale, and the interior design staff to help you define your style. Save right now at H&R Carpets and Flooring, Wanakee.
Are undocumented immigrants that are the least likely to commit a crime.
Meet Edwin Ramos. This illegal immigrant murdered 3 Americans. An MS-13 gang member, Ramos was arrested for a gun crime, but as DA, Kamala didn't prosecute him. Months later, Ramos murdered a man and his 2 sons in cold blood.
Are undocumented immigrants that are the least likely to commit a crime.
Preserve America PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Senator Baldwin claims she's doing something about the fentanyl crisis and says she got a major fentanyl bill passed. But Senator Baldwin is lying. The bill's main sponsor, Senator Tim Scott, had this to say.
As a primary sponsor, I've never had a single conversation with Tammy about this bill, period.
Career politicians like Senator Baldwin are always lying about something. Senator Baldwin, she's extreme, radical, and wrong.
I'm Eric Hovde, and I approve this message.
Prices are up, wages are down, inflation is crushing Wisconsin families. Yet Sarah Kieski, she supports lifting revenue limits, allowing property tax rates to skyrocket unchecked. Even more radical, Kieski's backers want to ban natural gas to heat our homes, driving utility bills through the roof. Tax hikes and higher prices for families and those living on fixed incomes. That's Kieski's record, expensive and extreme. Reject Sarah Kieski and her radical agenda.
This election is about 2 very different visions for our nation. One focused on the future, and the other focused on the past. When the middle class is strong, America is strong. Lowering the cost of living will be a defining goal of my presidency. I'll lower the cost of insulin and prescription drugs for everyone, and I will work to pass the first ever federal ban on price gouging on food. More than 100 million Americans will get a tax cut. We will end America's housing shortage by building 3 million new homes and rentals that are affordable for the middle class. Together, we will build an economy where everyone can compete and have a real chance to succeed. Now is the time to chart a new way forward.
I'm Kamala Harris, and I approve this message.
To prove that you can get just as strong at Planet Fitness, we're seeing if people can tell the difference between our 75-pound dumbbell and a 75-pound dumbbell from an overpriced competitor gym. Okay, the old flick test, that never fails.
There's literally no difference.
Plus, you can save $28 or more when you join today. Wow.
Why would I pay more to lift the same weights?
It's the Planet Fitness Strong Choice Sale. Save $28 or more. Join for $1 down, $15 a month, cancel anytime. Deal ends October 10th. Planet Fitness. Light price, strong choice.
And we're back with some trending news this morning. A couple of fast food stories to talk about. It's a collaboration I have a hard time believing that anyone asked for, but we are getting it. SpongeBob and Wendy's starting today. Wendy's is going to offer a burger with a special Krabby Patty sauce and a pineapple-flavored Frosty. Its new menu items mark the 25th anniversary of the iconic Nickelodeon cartoon.
I am here for it.
Me too.
SpongeBob is iconic, you know.
Who's bringing one on for us tomorrow morning?
Oh,
Let's see hi to these ladies in line. McDonald's says its long-anticipated Chicken Big Mac is going to hit their menus on October 10th, which is Thursday. The new item pays homage to the fast food chain's classic regular Big Mac. Just replaces the 2 all-beef patties with 2 battered chicken patties instead. I don't know, this looks okay.
I will say it looks better than the beef one.
Definitely try
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Hurricane Milton, still a Category 4, very strong. We'll have the latest coming up.
News 3 Now First Warn Weather is brought to you by Lazy Boy Home Furnishings and Decor.
Discover a shopping and design experience as comfortable as the furniture. Lazy Boy Home Furnishings and Decor. Schedule your free design consultation today.
My name is Bill. I am retired. I'm a Marine Corps veteran, and I live here in Wisconsin. I am not a political person, but Eric Hovde doesn't understand how important Social Security and Medicare are around here. I'm on Social Security, and Hovde said he absolutely supported cuts to Social Security and Medicare. Imagine working longer, paying into the system, and then poof, you're paying your bills with less. He knows it. Cutting Social Security and Medicare will cost us. He just doesn't care.
WinSenate is responsible for the content of this message.
Get an 11% rebate on everything. Now at Menards. Get free estimates fast on new energy-efficient windows from Geldwin. Choose from vinyl or wood windows and customize the perfect size for your home. Get an 11% rebate on all Geldwin windows. Shop our huge selection of window images, blinds, and shades. Room darkening vinyl blinds starting at $11.99 each after rebate. Plus, you can get them cut to width for free in store.
Save big money at Menards.
He murdered a father of 3, sentenced to life in prison. Kamala Harris pushed to use tax dollars to pay for his sex change.
I made sure that they changed the policy so that every transgender inmate would have access.
It sounds insane because it is insane. Kamala was the first to help pay for a prisoner's sex change.
The power that I had, I used it in a way that was about pushing for the movement, frankly, and the agenda.
Kamala's agenda is they, them, not you.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
After my son was born, I was having a hard time leaving him, only being able to see him once before going to work and then once before bed. That's just not enough time.
At my old job, my entire check went to daycare to pay to be away from my child. We bring our kids with us in the mornings and they ride with us on our routes and then they go to school.
I'm on a route where I'm the one dropping my kids off at school. It's been phenomenal.
Being able to bring them with me has been really great for our family.
I'm Tammy Baldwin, and I approve this message.
I am totally opposed to abortion.
You heard him.
I am totally opposed to abortion.
What would Eric Hovde do in the Senate? Mitch McConnell and extremists would gain a majority. The power to ban abortion nationwide. No exceptions for rape or incest. Criminal penalties for doctors. More extreme anti-abortion judges on the courts.
I am totally opposed to abortion.
Eric Hovde, what's wrong with this guy?
Rich, indulgent chocolate with a luscious caramel filling. Discover Ghirardelli caramel squares in a bag and a bar. Makes life a bite better.
This morning, Vice President Kamala Harris on 60 Minutes, what she has to say about her changing policy positions.
Plus the impact Black voters will have on the presidential election. Hear their thoughts on key issues.
Hey, well, good morning, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to News 3 Now this morning on a Tuesday. I'm Chris Stanford.
And I'm Kyrie Unley. Thanks for waking up with us. So with these temperatures, have you all resulted to turning the air off in the house completely yet, or is it just on and maybe not running?
You know, you got to keep your HVAC on its toes this time of year.
Yes.
You know, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Might be off for a few days. Might have to crank up the heat. Might have to crank up the AC. Kind of never know what you're going to get this time of year.
I haven't hit the heat button, but, you know, we've been able to just, it hasn't been running.
Guilty, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so. too many people at home complaining about cold toes. So.
Oh, you guys have already folded in October? Oh, okay. Sure. Savannah, what about you?
No, I have not turned the heat on. In fact, I let my house get pretty cold before the heat goes on. I'm guilty of that. I just like to dress in layers and have a lot of blankets on. But I've had the air on for the most part all of summer. I've had it off the last couple of days, though, thinking you'll need that back on by that Thursday and definitely by Friday if you don't want your house to get up to 80 degrees, because that's what we're forecasting. It's a stretch and a cry from that early this morning. Our temperatures basically where that frost advisory is, well northwest of Madison, in effect until 9 a.m. Those temperatures are pushing close to freezing level early this morning. Yesterday that did stretch just to Madison's north. Now it's a little further northwest, but we still do have cool temperatures out there. Middleton's not that cold, 47, not bad. That's seasonal for this time of year. We're a little below that. Madison's at 41, but that blue contour, those are where all the widespread 30s are this morning. So not as widespread as yesterday, but we still do have a fair amount of southern Wisconsin at that. 30 in Black River Falls, 36 in Camp Douglas. It's still warm in Milwaukee and Monroe, both those areas holding on to 50, but we'll talk about the warmest days ahead and also if that'll last into this upcoming weekend or if we could switch back to fall-like weather that's coming up.
All right, Savannah, thank you. Want to get you some brand new information just in this morning on President Biden's stop in Milwaukee today. CBS News now reporting that today the president will announce more than $2.5 billion in funding to identify and replace the nation's lead pipes. Administration there at the White House says that this is a White House visit. This is not a campaign stop. But again, Biden to announce $2.6 billion in funding that would identify and replace lead pipes within 10 years using money from the Bipartisan Infrastructure Act. When the president lands in Milwaukee, we will have coverage starting at channel3000.com and channel 3000 plus.
In the meantime, Vice President Kamala Harris is seeking to solidify her platform with the election under a month away. Her positions on several important issues have evolved since stepping into the vice presidential role. Harris has previously denied the idea that her values have changed. In an interview on 60 Minutes, she sat down with CBS's Bill Whitaker to explain.
And I have been listening to folks and seeking what is possible in terms of common ground. I believe in building consensus. We are a diverse people. Geographically, regionally, in terms of where we are in our backgrounds. And what the American people do want is that we have leaders who can build consensus.
Harris's interview with 60 Minutes is one of many she has scheduled this week. She has faced criticism for not doing enough media interviews since becoming a candidate.
Meanwhile, former President Donald Trump does not intend to participate in an interview for 60 Minutes. The campaign said so last week. They backed out after initially agreeing to the interview. It comes after Trump agreed again and then backed out. 60 Minutes says its invitation, though, still stands. Former President Trump is scheduled to instead participate in a couple of town halls today. Vice presidential candidate J.D. Vance will speak in Detroit.
This week in our 3 for the People coverage, we're taking a look at Black voters. It's a group that's expected to play a massive role in the outcome of the election. So what do Black voters care about and what makes their vote unique? Our Tanisha Shaw breaks it down.
They know that they have to kind of go further lengths to try to get and persuade black people to vote for them.
Black American voters in Dane County are speaking out ahead of Election Day.
I'm just excited for someone to get into office and to recognize that they have a specific group of people that need more resources.
I sat down with voters at Be Right Barbershop in Sun Prairie and members of UW's African Student Association. They talked about dozens of issues, like the economy and inflation.
Yeah, you got people trying to manage and budget their money a little bit more nowadays. You know, I used to have clients that get a haircut almost every week. Now you got clients that are trying to get a haircut once a month.
To immigration.
There's no security at the border right now. The border is just a mess. Even though we're all the way up here in Wisconsin, we're seeing a lot of more immigrants and different people coming up into this area.
And affirmative action.
I was accepted through affirmative action. Like, you know, there's still so many barriers to jump through. There's still such a low number of us. There's really not even enough of us here.
Along with the wars on the other side of the world.
It's definitely a big priority, and amongst most of my peers, I would also say it's a great priority to them. But unfortunately, I do feel like many of us feel almost hopeless in a sense that no matter who we vote for, we might not see a distinct change.
Every vote counts in a swing state like battleground Wisconsin. Last presidential cycle, Black Americans accounted for 5% of the vote, having a strong impact on the winner.
The turnout in 2020 in Dane County was 80%.
David Cannon is a retired political science professor from UW-Madison and says those numbers were phenomenal.
90% of black voters voting for Joe Biden and 80% turnout, which was even a little bit higher than Milwaukee County and higher than the statewide average.
Since Milwaukee County has the largest black population, their votes play an important role.
If you go back to the year 2000, all of the elections, except for the two involving Obama, have been decided by 1% of the vote or less. One of the decisive factors in all of those elections is the turnout in Milwaukee County. Because in Milwaukee County, the black vote has traditionally been about 90% Democratic. And so if you get a higher turnout in Milwaukee, you know, that every single percent of the vote is thousands of votes for the Democratic candidate. And so that can be really pivotal.
What makes the black vote around the U.S. unique is a trend.
There is a particular framework that social scientists have talked about called linked fate, where the belief that their interests are aligned with their group interests. So while many other voting blocs think of their own self-interest to vote, many black Americans think about their own livelihoods and their group livelihoods, and that's often linked with their own self-interest. Because the black vote matters a lot more than we are led to believe that it does.
Do you think the candidates are aware of that?
Yes, I do think they are aware of that, and I think often it's being taken for granted.
In August, former President Donald Trump spoke at the National Association of Black Journalists.
I love the black population of this country. I've done so much for the black population of this country.
Donald Trump brought out the young African-American woman to one of his rallies to speak on his behalf. I think she worked at the Chick-fil-A or something like that. Kamala had all of the celebrities come out to her presidential rallies or events that she had.
Harris also spoke to members of NABJ and announced a tour to historically black colleges and universities.
Democratic politicians are expecting for people to vote, black people especially, to vote the Democratic ticket. And kind of absolving themselves from that responsibility to do something different.
Some felt as though this is appropriate.
Which is, I think, great in getting like a younger audience and minority voters, seeing people that look like you endorsing Kamala Harris.
While others disagreed.
I think that it was kind of offensive for her to use black entertainers in that way. I just want them to not only care about black people when it's election time and care about them while they're also in office.
A big factor energizing black voters is representation.
They have never seen what it looks like to be a black woman holding a powerful seat like the president. And that galvanized a lot of people, that people were curious about it.
Using the pain from the past to empower themselves at the polls.
At one point in time, we wasn't able to vote. So to be able to walk into a poll and vote, I think every black person would be proud to do that.
It's important for the black community to remember that if we deem representation to be important to us, then that begins with representation at the polls.
Reporting in Madison, Tanasia Shaw, News 3 Now.
You can find all of our 3 for the People content at channel3000.com. Just look for the 3 for the People link at the top banner. You can find extended reports on all of our weekly topics. There's also plenty of other news content and resources. So stay tuned to this section of the website, especially when we get closer to Election Day.
Today, we're expecting to learn more details about Coldplay's plans to perform at Camp Randall Stadium. The initial announcement came from UW Athletics on social media. Officials say the show will take place sometime in 2025. But of course, this is part of Coldplay's Music of the Spheres World Tour. The detailed announcement is scheduled for 10 o'clock this morning, so we'll push all the details through the Channel 3000 mobile app. So I know a lot of people are looking forward to this. Some people have mixed emotions about it. Some people want to see other people.
Mixed emotions about Coldplay.
You know.
I think it's cool that they're coming to Madison.
Yeah, I mean, like, to make a stop here, this is big, especially at Camp Randall Stadium. And like I said, Coldplay is obviously, their songs have played through kids movies like Sing. We're a big Sing 1 and Sing 2 household.
Those are great movies. I really like those.
Yes, I mean, I should be able to recite them by
What's your bet on the month? I got August. I guess it's August.
Yeah, summertime, football off season. That makes a lot of sense.
Already, but maybe not. I
thought it wasn't released yet.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't remember. I can't remember what I read.
I thought it said somewhere sometime in
Right, so today at 10 o'clock this morning, they're going to make the announcements of all the details. They'll do everything officially, release all the details. So we'll push that out whenever we get the information.
So
and we'll also have stuff on Hurricane Milton when we get back. It's still rapidly intensifying. Category 4, very shy of a Category 5. We'll have what that means coming up.
And it's spooky season in the 608. We're live in Sun Prairie this morning checking out this Halloween display that you have to see to believe. How you can check it out. Coming up next.
We all share the same roads, but when accidents happen, we don't always share the same consequences. Big trucks can cause big damage. Injuries can be severe and may require a lifetime of care and compensation. Call Gruber Law Offices today. We've been fighting and winning for people injured by big trucks for more than 35 years. Let us do the same for you. Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
Billionaire banker Eric Hovde has a plan for Social Security.
Do you favor either raising the retirement age or cutting benefits?
I favor both.
Raising the retirement age?
You have to start changing the retirement age.
Hovde wants to raise the retirement age as high as 72. And Hovde just proposed cutting Social Security by 28%, costing the average beneficiary more than $6,000 a year. Eric Hovde, what's wrong with this guy?
I'm Tammy Baldwin, and I approve this message.
4 years ago, rioters set this Minneapolis police station on fire, trying to burn me and my fellow police officers alive. Governor Tim Walz left us for dead. And Kamala Harris?
This is a movement, I'm telling you. Everyone beware. They're not going to let up, and they should not.
She raised millions to help bail rioters out of jail and supported defunding the police. Kamala sold cops out and put families at risk. Kamala Harris is too weak and too dangerous to be president.
Preserve America PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Kamala Harris is going to significantly raise taxes.
Taxes are going to have to go up?
Kamala's plan will raise families' taxes by nearly $2,600 a year. Under Kamala, prices have already soared. Now she'd make it worse with even higher taxes.
Taxes are going to have to go up?
President Trump will cut taxes again. No taxes on tips, overtime, or Social Security.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
Career politicians like Peter Barca will say anything to get elected. His latest negative ad against Brian Style, it's been called blatantly false. The truth, Style has always supported IVF. He co-sponsored a resolution supporting IVF. And Style backs legislation to help families afford IVF. Peter Barca can sling mud, but we deserve better than just another lying career politician.
I'm Brian Style, and I approve this message.
Prices are up, wages are down, inflation is crushing Wisconsin families. Yet Sarah Kieski, she supports lifting revenue limits, allowing property tax rates to skyrocket unchecked. Even more radical, Kieski's backers want to ban natural gas to heat our homes, driving utility bills through the roof. Tax hikes and higher prices for families and those living on fixed incomes. That's Kieski's record. Expensive and extreme. Reject Sarah Kieski and her radical agenda.
You're watching News 3 Now This Morning. Moving forward.
Milton yesterday did keep on rapidly intensifying. That's still in the forecast today. It's only 2 miles per hour shy of a Category 5 hurricane. Its eye was definitely more defined yesterday as it did move over those warm Gulf temperatures. That's still going to be the case once it does make its way back up to Category 5 status, which I do think is going to happen. That eye is going to become more and more visible. So there are already hurricane warnings and tropical storm warnings. The hot pink color along the Yucatan Peninsula in Florida, that's the hurricane warning. Tropical storm warning stretch all the way just south of Miami, but that is going to continue to move east-northeast. Right now it's moving at 12 miles per hour. Yesterday it was 8, so that is picking up strength at least a little bit as far as speeds go. The winds are up to 155 miles per hour. The gusts, though, are almost topping out very close to 200 miles per hour. Where is that expected to make landfall? I think somewhere between Tampa and Sarasota, right close to either of those areas. Probably at least a high-end Category 3, if not a Category 4, just because all those warm ocean waters or the Gulf temperatures, that's not necessarily going to decrease. In fact, that's still going to be moving over very warm Gulf temperatures. That's expected to make landfall sometime tomorrow. I think it'll be later in the day. This is looking at Wednesday, 4 a.m., still well southwest of the Tampa area. This is now 10 a.m., getting closer and closer to landfall. This is about 10 p.m. So probably late tomorrow evening into the early overnight hours. That will continue moving east-northeast, though, affecting the Daytona Beach area, Orlando, and also West Palm Beach. Here we have a frost advisory. Temperatures are definitely cooler, and we will see rain potentially in the forecast as early as the weekend time frame. Definitely dry up until then. Today will be a little bit warmer than what we had yesterday. Probably the upper 60s, maybe a 70 out there. That's more likely into tomorrow, definitely by Thursday, the 81 on Friday, and then we'll be fall-like heading into the weekend. 68 on Saturday. We're down to 65 on Sunday.
All right, Savannah, lots of ups and downs. Thank you. In the 608 this morning, it's one of Josh Breider's favorite times of year, talking about spooky season, and that brings out a lot of family traditions this time of year.
That's right, and Josh is going to be showing us one of those family traditions in Sun Prairie, where one local family goes all out every year. Josh, good morning.
Hey, good morning to you guys. Yeah, we're on Aaron Voken's front step this morning. Yes, this is his home that you go all out for Halloween every year for.
Yes, absolutely, Josh. Thanks for being here. Yeah, we built, so we did pirates this year and turned our porch into kind of a pirate jail. I've got a prisoner here. I've got a monkey trying to break him out. We've got set up pirates all over our yard this year, and so we do something every year. It's been our 4th year to do it here in Sun Prairie. And so, yeah, we give this opportunity to just kind of get creative and give people an opportunity to come and see something and do something fun. We did Mad Scientist one year. We did Cemetery. So decided to do kind of pirate theme this year.
How do you come up with new ideas?
Yeah, you know, I see things on Pinterest and Facebook, and I kind of hear about stories or whatnot. My son River turns 10 this year, and he really enjoys, so we read things like Harry Potter and Pirates of the Caribbean, and so I thought, I'm going to do pirates. That sounds like a fun thing. Did it years ago and exchanged some things with people online, and I feel like I'm behind. There's people online that are 5 years ahead for the ideas of what they're going to do. So.
And some of the things in your yard, I mean, you reuse, you recycle, you repurpose. Some of the things you bring back every year, you'll change them up a little bit too.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll find things and say, oh, you know what? I'm going to turn that into a pirate. So I'll spray paint it and change it around. I redo my skeletons and find things at like thrift stores and local Goodwill and things. And yeah, it takes a lot of time. Hundreds of hours spent doing gluing coins onto treasures.
I was going to say, there's some really big details detail in there.
Yeah, you know, it just takes a long time to spray paint and glue coins and do things, and then also make sure that it's strong enough to hold up to the wind and the rain and all that. You know, you have to.
You never know what you're going to get here in Wisconsin.
Absolutely. I know years ago we had snow, and so I'm like, okay, how well will this hold up if it's really windy out there? So
what keeps you going?
You know, I think the joy of seeing kids come by and asking me, you know, what are you going to do this year? What's going on? Or when is it going up? When's the next thing going up? And just the life in their eyes, especially little kids. And even adults come by and they're just mesmerized by how big it is and thank me for doing it and just bringing that joy back into people's lives. It's just a lot of fun.
And you're getting the neighborhood involved too. I noticed that this year the neighbor has some of your stuff from last year.
Yeah, our neighbor has some of our blow-ups and kind of passing them down to different people and some lights, and kind of my wife really enjoys the fact that I'm spreading the cheer around the neighborhood. So, but just that opportunity to really share and people come by and experience, you know, this for the spooky season of Halloween. Lots of fun.
Yeah, and this is all for the community, and you're also giving back once again this year. So let's talk about that. How are you giving back?
Yeah, so we're giving to asking people to bring donations, to bring some kind of food goods, some kind of perishable or non-perishable, you know, canned good or something, so they can donate. They come out, see the lights, see the decorations, enjoy kind of that experience, and then help give back to our community.
So having fun, but making a difference at the same time.
Absolutely. Lots of fun.
All right, so people can come on out here through Halloween and check it out?
Right, yeah, so we're in Sun Prairie, we're on Silverado Drive. They can come out, it'll be up all the way through Halloween, and just having just a great time, and you know, come out and get some candy.
I love it, Aaron. Thank you so much for the tour again. We appreciate it.
Josh, thank you guys for being out here.
Yes, always make it a smile. If you'd like to learn more about this Halloween display, we have all the details up on channel3000.com, guys. What do you think, Kyrian? I know this is your first year being able to see this Halloween display, as we've been covering this for a couple of years now, but this is pretty detailed, am I right?
Yes, I mean, like, he's very talented, so tell him what a wonderful job out there.
Big time.
Looks great again. Josh, thank you.
I'll do that.
Josh is always looking for inspiration to share in the 608. You got a story for him? Let him know about it.
And coming up in the morning sprint, sooner than expected, we now know the date for when Coldplay will perform at Camp Randall Stadium.
If you got a little kiddo turning 3 soon, let us know. We'll show their picture on TV.
Sponsored by Three Bears Resort, Indoor Water Park and Conference Center in Warrens, Wisconsin.
My name is Bill. I am retired. I'm a Marine Corps veteran, and I live here in Wisconsin. I am not a political person, but Eric Hovde doesn't understand how important Social Security and Medicare are around here. I'm on Social Security, and Hovde said he absolutely supported cuts to Social Security and Medicare. Imagine working longer, paying into the system, and then poof, you're paying your bills with less. He knows it. Cutting Social Security and Medicare will cost us. He just doesn't care.
WIN Senate is responsible for the content of this message.
At Janesville Nissan, we treat our customers the way we want to be treated. It's in everything we do and every deal we make. You won't find that at most other dealerships. Come see why you'll feel great buying a vehicle from Janesville Nissan. Exceptional savings, award-winning service.
Ready to embark on an exclusive journey into the lives of UW's top athletes? News 3 Now sports director Zach Hanley takes you inside Wisconsin Huddle, a one-of-a-kind 30-minute weekly special. It's more than just highlights. It's more than X's and O's. It's an inside look into the world of Big Ten college athletes, from their journey to Madison to insights on how they prepare for competition. Watch Wisconsin Huddle Friday nights at 6:30 on WISC-TV. Brought to you by TDS Telecom.
It's our fall into savings sale at Tundraland. We are offering free installation on the bath or shower of your dreams. Plus, no payments, no money down, and no interest for an entire year.
Tundraland. Tundraland.com. It's no secret, Robertson is Wisconsin's aesthetic leader, but with results this natural, patients can keep it a secret if they want. Our secret to reducing stubborn body fat, Cool Sculpting Elite, the newest technology available. Book a free consultation to learn how Cool Sculpting is different at Robertson.
The kindness, the efficiency, the respect was amazing.
From start to finish, they will take care of you.
Everybody is just so kind and everybody's so cheerful. I just never worked with a company where everybody seems to get along and they're all happy to be working for Cardinal.
Cardinal is the place to go
for any type of work that you need done around your home.
I never hesitate with family, friends, neighbors to recommend Cardinal, and nobody has come back to me and said I was wrong.
I'm Tammy Baldwin, and I approve this message.
I am totally opposed to abortion.
You heard him.
I am totally opposed to abortion.
What would Eric Hovde do in the Senate? Mitch McConnell and extremists would gain a majority. The power to ban abortion nationwide. No exceptions for rape or incest. Criminal penalties for doctors. More extreme anti-abortion judges on the courts.
I am totally opposed to abortion.
Eric Hovde, what's wrong with this guy?
3 for the people, only on News 3 Now.
6:54, time for the morning sprint.
Madison police are investigating after recovering 80 shell casings on the city's east side. It happened on the Thompson Street near Honeysuckle Park. Police say the shooting resulted in a stray bullet entering a home coming within 2 feet of small children. Several vehicles also have damage. Police took one person to the Dane County Jail for resisting after they attempted to run from the area.
2 families out of their home this morning because of a kitchen fire. Firefighters responded to an apartment on Osgard Road Monday night. That's also on Madison's east side. They saw some thick smoke on the 2nd floor. Crews put the fire out within about 5 minutes. Nobody got hurt. The people living there, though, are now in temporary housing.
Happening today, President Joe Biden will be in Milwaukee, and we're just learning this morning the president will announce $2.5 billion for replacing lead pipes. The funding comes from the bipartisan infrastructure bill. The Biden administration says the stop is a White House event not affiliated with Vice President Kamala Harris's campaign.
Happening today, the Madison mayor will announce the city's 2025 executive operating budget. It comes ahead of the city's operational referendum this November. The city's asking taxpayers for $22 million to address the deficit. Today's budget release will include details on scenarios with and without a past referendum.
This just in, Coldplay's 2025 performance at Camp Randall Stadium will be on Saturday, July 19th. The initial announcement came from UW Athletics on social media. It's part of the band's Music of the Spheres World Tour. Coldplay is promoting their newest album, Moon Music. It's the first concert at Camp Randall Stadium since 1997.
Well, I guess I was wrong about that being August. That's where I placed my bets. Our temperatures, though, will feel August-like on Friday. They'll climb to 81 degrees, but then we have fall-like weather returning just in time for the weekend. I was really hoping that cold front would slow down. Yesterday, we had the high set at 75. Had to drop that into the upper 60s now for Saturday.
Okay.
They're not sticking around.
We're getting a little bit of regulation here for the fall temps.
I mean, the later into October we get, the farther that drops. So.
Right. All right, Savannah, thank you.
We'll be back in 30 minutes with the news and weather update.